We ask that you do remain muted, though, throughout the meeting to ensure that everybody can hear properly. Questions and comments are absolutely encouraged. We are a people-centered program, and we want this to be a great experience where we can all exchange thoughts and ideas. So please feel free to enter questions or comments in the chat box at any time throughout the meeting, and I will moderate Q&A with Anastasia at the end. Our meeting will be about 45 minutes total, including Q&A. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Anastasia Gudko, originally from Kyiv. Anastasia holds a master's degree in arts administration from Borshch College's Weizmann School of the Arts and Sciences. In 2022, she founded the Ukrainian Arts Club and the Borshch of Art in 2024 to pursue her passion for tracing the Ukrainian heritage of prominent American artists. She is also founder emerita of Baruch Alumni in the Arts, AITA, recipient of the Rose Nagelberg Scholarship, and was nominated for the Marlowe Prize in Arts Leadership. In 2024, she was accepted into the NYFA's Emerging Leaders Program. And today she will present to us the incredible strides she has made in properly acknowledging the Ukrainian origin of many American artists. So please help me give her a warm welcome to our Zoom room.
Hi, everyone. It's such a great pleasure to be here with you. I was delighted when I spoke to Katerina, the founder of the ENGin, and she invited me to talk to volunteers. I learned about this amazing organization, and I'm so happy to speak to you today. So I will start sharing my screen and my story. Please bear with me for a moment while I'm setting it up. Present, full. Yeah. So I just telling you that I will not see you or your beautiful faces, and I will talk to the screen. So if I will have some facial expressions, don't mind. I will then turn off the slides so we have a communication and Q&A. So again, as is what presented, my name is Anastasia Gudko, and I was very passionate in learning how many American artists have Ukrainian roots. I was amazed by this, and I decided to devote my my career at this moment of moment of my career life fully to that discovery. So I will briefly go from who I am. I will tell you about the beginnings of the Borshch, about our ENGin discovery database. I would like to highlight one of the artists we have in the database, Louise Nevelson, and then I will briefly tell you how you can be involved, and we will go to the questions. So here's me, and I decided, since Emily already read my bio, I will give you a little bit of a personal detail so you understand who am I, and also we can connect with the audience who is on another part of the screen. So I decided to share that when I'm in Kyiv, I absolutely always go and ride the funicular. If you ever had this opportunity, do that. I love this little ancient and like so modern way of transportation. It's beautiful, it's scenic, and it is so much about the old Kyiv and all, traditions. Also, Mariinsky Park, always on my route, because I've been studying at the Klovsky Lyceum at the center of Kyiv, and it was usual way of us hanging out after school. Plus, I do live next to a botanical garden, the new botanical garden, Pechersk district. So I usually take the trolley bus number 14 if I travel from the central Grand Central Station home. So never the Uber or any other type of transportation. I really love this route because it goes through the main streets, the historical district, the more up and coming center of Ukraine, of Kyiv. So this is who I am when I'm Kyivan. I also love to travel, and I used to travel a lot across Ukraine when I lived in Ukraine. So my favorite cities were Lviv and Chernivtsi. And I still need to visit and would like to visit Lutsk, Poltava, and Dnipro. So anyone from joining us from that cities or have buddies there, hooray. I would love, yeah, this is my destination list. I do read a lot. I like reading different types of books. For last 3 years, it was mainly the biographies of the artists and art-related materials. Since I'm fueling my research and, you know, joy together, I'm like combining them. And a very personal thing, I was looking for tango classes for a long time, and like just recently I had 2 classes. So I start to learn that dance. Also, for those who are from US here, I can tell you that I absolutely adore visit for a week in Philadelphia and Boston. And my recent love discovery is Upstate Art Weekend, who is in New York. Tell me in the comments if you participated this last weekend and where did you know, what town did you go? What institutions did you see? I would love to learn from you what you liked about it. And then, without further ado, I will briefly told you that like some official statements from the Borshch of Art. We just recently received our letter of determination of the registering 501c3 public charity. That means that all, you know, donations given to us is tax deductible. That took us almost a year in processing. So I'm very happy that, you know, we ticked that milestone. Also, I will tell you that we are, in essence, the organizations that our motto is reclaim Ukrainian heritage, for the reason that historically it happened, you know, being under the imperial influence, that a lot of artists never been recognized as Ukrainians. They were always from Russian Empire, Russian, Soviets, anything but Ukraine. So that's why I think it's very important for us as an organization to provide opportunities and public programming and research fellowships for people to discover the Ukrainian roots of American artists. And that's how we started with development of the Discover database, which I will talk about shortly. The picture is like from our recent program in May. There is a Cooper Union in New York City, and they have a dedicated center for typography and design. And we went there with our members and public who were interested to join us to learn about the artists who were also designers and create like illustrators. So they create cover books, or like they've been working intersection of publishing, for example, Vanity Fair and New York Times had covers designed by Americans with Ukrainian roots, for example. That was a very enlightening program. And if you're in New York City, please join us next time. Here, I will tell you about Borshch and how it all happened. So I've been in the arts for 7 years now. I started at Baruch, as Emily mentioned in my bio. And since then, I got that understanding of wanted to bring and to marry my Ukrainian soul and my roots with a contemporary American art scene. And I found the niche, there's something that never was overlooked before. And once the full-scale invasion started in 2022, I realized that this information and this research is needed, and no one did it before. So since summer 2022, I've been thinking about how I, as a person, as a Ukrainian-American, can contribute to research and development and support Ukraine in a way I can. And that's how we decided with a group of people, my peers, my colleagues from the industry, my friends, that this organization should exist. There was an interesting story behind the name, but I will keep it for later, maybe for questions, and just to be mindful about our time. So what we do generally, we go into the institutions like galleries. If there is a show, for example, on this picture, there was a show of the Ukrainian-American artist Adriana Formiga at the gallery, and we went there to explore her art so she can tell us about, you know, what's behind it. Same was here on this picture. It was a gallery, you know, talk with artist Anastasia Gudko. We also have the tours, like a walk-in tours in New York. We are going through Greenwich Village, West Village, Ukrainian Village, East Village. So around the village area, where just like the amazing amount of spots where American artists with Ukrainian roots either lived, have artwork on display, like a mural or a statue, or you know, they have like some histories. They left their mark there. So we partner with the certified oh my God, tour guide who is, you know, learning from us about the artist, and we combine this tour dedicated to highlighting in their experiences. Or for example, here we are visiting the Chaim Gross Foundation for so studio visit and like learning about his legacy, one of the most prominent sculptors and artists of the 20th century, who also, by the way, had Ukrainian roots, as well as Louise Nevelson that we will touch later. And Chaim Gross and Louise Nevelson were a teacher and you know, student. So Nevelson studied from the Gross. Just a little fact that it is a lot of intersections, and a lot of stories have this interesting connections that I am personally very enthusiastic about exploring. And we know that there are, you know, blue chip artists, like top shelf artists, and we know about them as Americans. And again, no one ever shared their story of immigration coming from that particular part of the world that is called Ukraine and is independent country that been under influence of different empires. Nevertheless, it is independent and currently fighting for, yet again, their freedom. So Discover Database was one of the programs that we are launched from the very first, talking about how we can gather in one space information about those artists who has American artists that have Ukrainian roots. And as far as we know, this is the only existing platform today that provides this particular information. At this moment, we have listed 126 artists in our database, and we launched 23 profiles that gives an information about artists. There are some stats about you know, gender and like the you know, the breakdown of the database that we have at this moment. It is constantly developing. We are going to launch the new profiles soon, so please check it out. Sign up to our newsletter so you will have, you know, this information handy while it's launched. I just wanted to demonstrate how the catalog looks. So here's the ENGin search system where you can add the name or the city, for example, like Kyiv or Lviv, and see where this artist from our database came from or like related to which part of Ukraine. We have profiles developed on this side, like on the right side of the screen. You can see there's Sonia Getchtov, the Chaim Gross, Philip Gaston, Gniezdowski, Inka Eisenheim. She is a very contemporary, super successful artist that was born in US from parents immigrated from Ukraine. And we have another part of the database that you can see. It's just a list of names. I called it our pipeline. So as I mentioned, we already launched 23 profiles that are available from the search. And here's the names that we are in development. So for profiles that we are developing, we are gathering information. We are, you know, inquiring for the rights and permissions to use the pictures and the pictures of the artworks. Some artists are, you know, less accessible. Others are more accessible, but under, you know, more heavily copyright protection. So we work on that too. And also I would like to mention that artists that have profiles on our database is already well known. And that was for the reason to attract attention and tell that, that Philip Gaston, one of the most, prominent artists of the last century, has Ukrainian roots, for people to understand that we're talking not about the artists that are upcoming or like the artists who as trying to find their way. The history was made by this artist, and no one until recently really bothered to see where they came from or what is their origins. So that's why we want to combine and give shout out to those top shelf level artists and recognize and acknowledge their Ukrainian roots connection. And also for those artists who lived through last century but didn't get that spotlight, because they were women, because there were no internet, because they didn't have like a good promotion, but they love the very important body of work and the legacy. And we want to give our platform, our Discover database is giving platform for those artists who had means and who were artists on its own, but for the lack of digital environment, we don't have a lot of information about them. Again, I would like to highlight the artist from the database. This is Louise Nevelson. Can you show by, smiles or like thumbs ups, anything, who know about this artist? Who has any information about Nevelson or like came across her, knowing or not knowing her Ukrainian connection? Yay, okay, I see some thumbs ups and some hearts. So I personally learned about this artist on my journey to the Met Museum. I came across the sculpture that I have slide at the end. And when I read the label, it said Kyiv with IEV, Russian Empire or something like that. And it struck me. I was like, first of all, Kyiv, wrong spelling of Kyiv. Second of all, Russian Empire, it's like not exist anymore. Why you would mention it? It is not in the best practices for the museums to emphasize colonization practices. So Ukraine is independent. It should say Kyiv, Ukraine. That's it. That's like how it should be acknowledged and attributed. So, and at the same time, I have a mixed feelings of anger and curiosity. And I was proud that such a amazing artwork. It's like huge sculpture that was like taking the whole room in the Met modern part was dedicated to this woman. And that's how my research started. I started to Google her when I read that she was born in Peryaslav Khmelnytsky, which is Kyiv, like a region, oblast, not Kyiv. I was like started to see all this in like my mind was like, blown, and I was so eager to learn more about her. And then I realized, and my research brought me to what I will share with you right now. So this is actually the sculpture. I use it on this slide too. This is a beautiful, as you see, she was very famous for bringing together the huge, amazing, first it was wooden sculptures built into assemblage. You can, she pioneered the technique of putting together this box-like constructions and then paint them in one color. It was black, then it was white. She incorporated gold. I will not go deeply into like why she did what she did and the choice of her, mediums, just because we are not into, art history lesson here, but I will share the links, and you can also go to the profile on the Discover database and read about that, and like have the links to the videos, interviews with her, programs about her. I really encourage you to do that. So Louise Nevelson was a pioneering artist that was born in Peryaslav Khmelnytsky in Ukraine, and she immigrated to the US at the age of 6 because of the anti-Semitism and pogroms at that time in territories of Ukraine. The family settled in Maine, but very shortly, Louise Nevelson, once she had an opportunity, she went to New York to study art and to develop her art career. I specifically put the picture of this, as you see, it's in Ukrainian. This is the plaque on the building in the Pereyaslav school, #2. And they wanted to, in 2019, they discovered that this prominent American artist was from Ukraine, and they decided to acknowledge this and to share with their students that anything can happen if you dream big, if you study well, you can become very famous, one of the top artists of the world. So I think this is a beautiful connection, and again, emphasis that it is important to know where are your roots and how the origins of the artist, and inspire the next generation of young people to dream big and know that they can do whatever they want to achieve if they will work hard on it. What I want to emphasize and be brief on the Nevelson is that she was groundbreaking, pioneering, working on a environmental, we can say she was one of the first environmental artists, because the materials she picked for her assemblages, like here, or these wooden sculptures and boxes, she picked up from the street. And not because she was like so innovative, it was because of the scarcity of resources during World War II. She started as in training for a painting, of course, as everyone went through the school, one of the best schools. She went to the Cooper Union. She went to the Art Students League of New York. She was studying with Hans Hofmann, one of the prominent European artists that immigrated because of the war to US. She visited him in Europe before the war started. So she was very well trained, but the success hit her when she was in her 60s. So because of this, scarcity, she picked up the wooden, the pieces of the broken chairs, some furniture. For us who live in US, we know there's like a lot of curbside stuff that you can pick up. She lived in the city in the Nolita, so like like in an Italian district, like in like Spring Street, Soho, NoHo area of Manhattan. And she was well known. She started to put together this food and sculptures. Then she transitions to the heavy steel metal works. She was the first public art artist who produced the public artwork and displayed this in New York. So she was the woman of so many, beautiful pioneering inventions that we can have like a 3-hour lecture about her, and it will not be enough to explain how important she was. But here she after the big show in Whitney or MoMA Museum, not sure, with the Reagan's wife. This is the mayor of New York, Ed Koch, and he was also like immigrant from Ukraine, by the way. She was a tour de force, as we would say. Things that will be interesting to learn for the public, I think I would emphasize this. She's the only one artist that has the sculptured environment created in the middle of Manhattan. It's called Nevelson Chapel. She was commissioned to these beautiful reliefs, sculptured pieces that are attached to the walls. And this is one of the biggest and prominent commissions. The location is Lexington and 51. If you're in New York City, please do give yourself a pleasure of visiting it. It's a beautiful, sacred space, very, very empty always. When I go through this area, I always step in, sit, and like have a moment or two of silence and enjoying the presence of these gorgeous artworks and talking to Nevelson in my mind a little bit. So you can see it is a church environment, but it is absolutely, there's like no traditional crosses. The cross is the cross is the artwork of itself. Also, Nevelson celebrated her 50th anniversary living in New York City. Okay, I just realized I'm blocking, I believe I'm blocking some materials here. She celebrated by giving a gift of the sculpture. As you can see, it is a huge quartz steel sculpture that is now on 92nd and Park Avenue. She also is and still is the only woman who has the park, the plaza, named after her name, and also presented the beautiful 7-piece sculpture garden, as she named this. Her, prominence and and her legacy is fainted a little bit. So people who are in the arts, who are of a more generation who've been living millennials and to that part of the scale knows about her, but unfortunately people who are like younger than 30 years have like only like some understanding of her and her importance in the history of art world. And that's why I'm very eager to talk about her and to share her story. And I always use her as an example because essentially my interest and my desire and of exploration of the Ukrainian roots of American artists started from that very first our meeting at the Met Museum next to her sculpture. And as during my research years, I reached out and I met the Maria Nevelson, her granddaughter, at one of the conferences she's been presenting at. And I, since then, had a very good relationship with her. She's very supportive of acknowledging her Ukrainian roots of her grandmother. And even though we would never say that Nevelson is Ukrainian, just by default, she's Jewish. She was born in Kyiv Oblast in Peryaslav, Ukraine, and she is an American artist with Jewish roots. And I would say acknowledgement of her birthplace plays a big role. For example, like this sculpture. You see, it's wooden sculpture. And if we know a little bit about the history of the family, we can understand why wood plays such an important role in her career. Her father was a lumberjack, and when they lived in the Peryaslav, they had like a big forest that they went through and like taken care of. That's why when he moved and immigrated to US, he chose Maine for the same reason, because he could apply his skill set, his mastery in working with wood. And I feel this is not the last reason why Nevelson was so aware of this material and was leaned towards doing her first sculptures in wood. I might have this like my understanding of this process, but I would leave it to art historians, art critics, to future curators and museum administrators to look into the stories. But what we do as organization, we provide the scholarships. We provide scholarship for graduate students who want to research more and dig deep and apply their research and skill set into discovering whether my assumptions of the wood that was taken from Ukraine and the story of connection with woods and was influenced by her story. I can tell you for sure one thing, that Maria Nevelson acknowledged that the things that they have in common and was something that is staple in their kitchen was always borscht. So I think food is also a conduit and a connector in our cultures, and that's how we can share, the culture and similarities and understanding of what regions we came from. If I have one moment, I would also add, talking about the connection of kitchen and dishes. We can, the borscht can be spelled in a very different ways, but there is one official name, how it should be spelled. It's the name of our organization, SHCH at the end. The letter T came into this Oh, Maria Nevelson is in our waiting room. Amazing. So the letter T is the Jewish variant of like variation of naming Borshch, for example. And the other thing I would say, latke, Jewish latke, is Ukrainian derony. The challah bread is the plitonka, the bread I was, purchasing. Like we had in the stores baton, Ukrainian bread, and plitonka. There's like three staples in any stores that we have in 90s in Kyiv, for example, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of similarities, but I think they were not yet discovered. So this is what we do as an initiation for Ukrainian of Borshch of Art with our programming and research fellowship. We also soon will be launching the Creative Beetroots, which is the platform where people can submit articles or exhibition reviews or interviews with an artist, so we can spread the word and generate the ecosystem between research and contributions of the experts in the area, and thus to grow the next generation of people who understand and know about Ukrainian-American artists. They are distinguishing from others. And Maria, are you here at this call? I just want to acknowledge you here.
I just came on. Sorry, I caught.
And you see, you came up when your picture was just on screen.
Yeah, it was like a shock. Oh, there she is.
Yes, it was a surprise. You never told me that you are going to join. I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited for you. I'm going to get off, but if you got any questions for me, let me know.
Great, happy to do that. So I'm finishing with saying how people can to be involved with Borshch of Art. I see that you already volunteer for this amazing organization, ENGin, that is providing such a crucial, important skill set and opportunity for Ukrainians to practice English and to have a body to enhance their skills in speaking English with native speakers, which is very crucial. But also, if you feel that this story and our organization interests you or sparked your interest, please do reach out to me. My email address is on the screen. As I mentioned, we have also we're working with volunteers who help us organize art profiles and who is interested to submit articles. We also can figure out how you can be helpful if you have the skill set of researcher, or you have an art background, or you want to be involved anyway. At this moment, I will stop sharing my screen and I will invite your questions and Emily to facilitate the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. What a cool presentation. So cool to learn all of this background, and thank you so much for everything that you're doing to call attention to this really important issue in the art world. We thank you for that. So I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, but one of our questions was really why the name Borshch, why the name Borshch of Art? Could you maybe repeat kind of what you said or condense what you said just as a response to that?
Absolutely. So Borshch was an interesting combination of reasons. For the I will start from the one that I already mentioned, the spelling of the name. As in our organization is education